Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. It is Saturday, June 27th, and we're inching towards July and the NBA comeback. Always got to mention that because I'm so excited. And I am joined, though, today by the man, the myth, the legend, the $5,000 takedown master from this week in KBO. So for those listening, you picked the right podcast to listen to because he is smoking hot right now, and that's Mr. Andrew Hanson. How are you, Andrew?
Oh, good. Thanks, Coach. Yeah, it's been a fun week in the KBO. Had that big win earlier in the week, and then Shane was on yesterday with you. We crushed it on DraftKings again, and you had that amazing call on our golf podcast yesterday, the weekend golf, where you basically predicted Dustin Johnson was going to shoot a 61. So our weekend golf lineups are doing great, and we'll see if we can just keep it rolling here today.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, I love, we talked about yesterday just real briefly with golf, that, those guys that barely make the cut and get to go out early and shoot for the pins, the guys like DJ or JT or Reed or any of the guys that can go low, man, you got to really circle them because they can make your entire lineup. So it's fun to get the sweat going if we can get the weather good in golf. But the good thing is the weather's great in KBO tonight. No rain forecast at all. So I'm fired up for that. I am a little bummed because for quite a while, they were running those 1 a.m. Eastern games. So for me here in Dallas at midnight, it was prime time. It was great, but they're not doing those anymore. So we're still in the middle of the night. But again, hey, that gives us an edge. Let's take the edge and run with it because not everybody is able to flip those rosters or double check. And we, of course, are in there 30 minutes before every lock in Discord to confirm lineups, if someone moved in the batting order, night off, especially catchers, things like that are a bit volatile. So we have found, I think that definitely weighs into the success that we've had recently in KBO, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'd love to have some more members join us and take advantage of that. So we're in there every single lineup block in the KBO when we provide our FanDuel lineup to our members and our DraftKings player pool, and we make those updates as you mentioned. So that's what it's all about.
No doubt. And you can join us by going to dfscoachtalk.com, become a member there, week, month, year. You have different options. And the clock does not start on your membership until July 30th. So we have been preaching all along. We're going to gut out through KBO, bring the PGA to you, and then when baseball clicks in on the 24th, then we get our main sport here at Coach Talk NBA starting on the 30th. So everything goes back live on the 30th as far as memberships. So, hey, if you've been with us and you're taking advantage of some free time with us, it's paying off. I mean, we've had a lot of members posting winning lineups, and that's what we're here for. We want to give you that special edge.
Right on.
I want to thank our sponsors for bringing this podcast to you today. That's MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag for all your sports wagering and casino action, and get the exclusive offer that you can only get through Coach Talk by going to our website. And that's a 50% sign-up bonus all the way up to $1,000. And they throw in a free $25 free play that you can take a shot at a little parlay or something with any sports there. They got them all. So definitely check out mybookie.ag, and then also TVG, tvg.com. You want to go there or to our website to sign up with TVG and use that promo code Coach Talk. That's on both the MyBookie and TVG ad. And that gets you that exclusive risk-free $300 bet. So there's some great races going on today. I don't know if anybody watched Midnight Bayou. She just crushed them today in the big race. And I think I'm going to go here. We're going to pull this tape sometime. I think Midnight Bayou, even though she's a filly, I think she wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. I don't think they're going to run her in the distaff because she's that good. And so there you go. You got a June 27th Midnight Bayou Breeders' Cup Classic future play. So let's do it. All right, let's get started, man. We've got KBO today, as we say. All 5 games are starting 4 Eastern, 3 a.m. here in Dallas, right dead square in the middle of the night. Gotta love it. And we've got 5 good games with no weather issues whatsoever. So great stuff. First game is the Kia Tigers 24-20 at the Kiwoom Heroes 29-18. And we're going to jump on the mybookie.ag lines here. And we're going to find this first game. We're going to refresh it so we get it right to the second when we do this podcast. And it's a real tight one here. Kia is a -119, Kiwoom -111. So it's really a close toss-up game. And the over-under is the lowest on the entire slate at 8.5. And that gives me some confidence in my favorite pitcher. And you know who that is because I've been on this guy for a while. My favorite pitcher of the night in this very first game. You want to take a guess who it is? And the first guess doesn't count.
Yeah, it's got to be Aaron Brooks.
It is Aaron Brooks. He tossed
not
some
the NBA
shutout innings. Right. Not Aaron number 0 from the Houston Rockets or wherever he played. And but no, Aaron Brooks has been steady. He's 3-2 with a 262, but he threw a bunch of blanks last time out. Looks like he's in a groove. I know Kiwoom can hit. They've got some sticks, but I just think Brooks, is in a groove. He's pitching well. I like his price on DraftKings. He's tied for the most expensive on FanDuel, which is a little odd. FanDuel's pricing on pitching is somewhat bizarre, but it is what it is. You can't let a couple of bucks on FanDuel switch you from the guy you like if you really think he's going to be good. So I'm going to turn this game over to you because I am all about Brooks in this game, and I'll let you do the rest of the breakout.
All right. Well, I do like him. I want to include him in our player pool on DraftKings. He's not my favorite pitcher. Lefties can get him. They're hitting 344 against him this year, so I'm a little bit concerned about the top of the order. Ha-Seong Kim, the more expensive middle infielder for Kiwoom, looks to be out today, which means we may have 3 lefties at the top of the order. Seo, Hae-Sung Kim, and then Jung-Hoo Lee. And that'll be a real challenge for Brooks. I think that'll be the difference in the game, how he handles those 3 lefties. Jung-Hoo Lee was 2 for 3 against him when they faced off earlier. Hae-Sung Kim did not play that day. So that's the real turning point. I'm not going to play any righty Kiwoom bats, but with the lineups where I don't play Brooks, I may get some exposure to those lefties at the top of the order.
Okay.
As for the other matchup, I think the best way to describe the Kiwoom pitcher is just that he's completely average. 3-3, 4.18 ERA, just average strikeouts. He gives up home runs. And, here's another guy that you can really attack with lefties. They're hitting 341 against him this year with 4 home runs. So I will probably build a couple lineups with some exposure to H. Cha and Tucker, maybe even MU if he plays. He's a little bit cheaper on DraftKings, 3,200 at first base. And then the one righty that is back in the lineup who's a little bit under the radar because he was out for a while is Sunbin Kim, number 2 in the order. I know, Coach, you loved playing him early in the season.
Yeah.
And when Kia faced this pitcher, he couldn't get Sunbin Kim out. He had a single, a double, and a walk. So at 4,000 on DraftKings, he's a solid value.
Yeah. No, I see that. I'm all over the 3-4 hitters. I'm sure they'll be plugged in there. They're lefties against this righty. I just think Tucker and Cha, the 2 of them, lock and load, 100% plays for me. They're in every lineup. They're a little pricey, but I think they're really going to prosper in this matchup. I love both guys today. I love the fact that they're going to hit with Brooks on the mound as well. I do see that you'll have some lefties for Kiwoom, but Seo's okay. He doesn't have tons of pop. He has a few homers here and there, but I don't respect Hae-Sung Kim's bat very much, so he's probably going to go deep at least twice. But since I'm calling him out, but the only guy that I'm afraid of is Jung-Hoo Lee. But I have a feeling Brooks will pitch around him a little bit, because you got the two Park boys after him and Hio and some of those fellas, all the righties. I think he can handle those guys a little bit better. So I think if he's careful with Jung Ho, I think he can do a fine job. So yeah, first game out of the chute, I'll have three of my lock and load 100% guys in Brooks, and then with the sticks, Tucker and Cha.
Excellent.
All right, game two, KT Wiz, 20-26 at the Hanwha Eagles, 12-35. And obviously they're taking a beating on the lines, as they are today as well. They are a home dog. You get plus 175 if you bet Hanwha, minus 243 if you play the KT Wiz. Have you noticed the lines, by the way, in these KBO games are really spread out? It's not like the tight lines. I mean, they get you coming and going in Vegas on these lines.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, and it's over under in that game is 9.5. So you've got the largest favorite on the board by quite a bit in the KT Wiz, and an average over under with 9.5. So I guess the question is, does that mean Despaigne is someone that you're going to consider? I know you played Bell early on and then soured on him. Is he a guy to stack against? Those are the $2 million questions in this game. So what do you got?
Yes and yes.
I knew it.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to finish up with a 3-star slate at the end.
You know me well. You know me well. So this will be similar to how you're approaching Kia with the pitcher and the bats. I like Despaigne here against Hanwha. Now, the problem is 4 of his last 5 outings have been subpar, but he's a good strikeout guy. It is Hanwha. They're historically bad. So he's going to be in a lot of my lineups. And the bats, I'm really excited about these bats going against Chad Bell. Everybody hits against him. He just doesn't have it compared to last year when he was much better. Lefties are hitting 324. Righties are hitting 320. And I looked at the splits for the KT bats facing a lefty. Rojas is far and away the best. 455 with 6 home runs. An incredible home run rate. So he's a lock and load for me. And I like the idea of 1 or 2 more bats here. Or if you're going to make a really big team stack, this is probably the best matchup to do it in tonight. You've got Jay Bay probably in the 2-hole. The outfielder for 3,000 on DraftKings. He's batting 457 against lefties this year with a home run.
Yeah.
HU is batting 364 against lefties. He's a nice price in the outfield, 3,500. K Park, an infielder, he's batting 296. And we got to mention Jay Huang. Shane was all over him yesterday, and he hit a big home run. He got walked 3 times, had a terrific game, and I
finally talked him into playing Huang.
Yeah, right.
That's inside joke.
Yeah, right. No, Shane, that was a great call by Shane. He predicted the breakout there. Is a guy who's underperformed all year. He's been overpriced. So, I'll probably get him in some lineups again today and see if, after that big day yesterday, he fits the bill here, righty going against Chad Bell.
Don't chase, man. Don't chase.
No, not chasing, but, he's not a lock and load, but I'll get him in a couple lineups when I build a bigger KT stack. And then we like their catcher also, S. Jang, even though he bats towards the bottom, he's hitting 333 against lefties as well. So I like Despaigne and these bats here.
All right, man. I'm gonna pull out the trump card on you here and also give you the quiz and disagree at the same time.
Wow. Okay.
Take a guess, and you can miss within 2 either way. How many earned runs has Despaigne given up total in the last 5 games?
Oh, yeah. I looked at the last 5 games, so I'm going to say 28.
24. That's close, but you do not win the bet there. Now, if you were thinking 28 in the last 5 games, my follow-up question is why Despaigne?
6 letters, Hanwha.
Okay.
Hanwha.
All right. I also want to let you know that he's walked 14 in the last 5 games. His whip has gone up immensely from a 0.94 to a 1.35. So my point, not to call you out, but to just explain my build, is this is one of those where, I'm posting the FanDuel lineups, and generally Andrew or Shane are catching DraftKings. And this is one of those scenarios where it's a no-brainer to me on FanDuel. I don't see how you don't play it, because it makes the rest of the roster work. Now, I didn't use any Hanwha guys on DraftKings because the pricing didn't fit just right, but I'm playing a little mini 3-man, 4-man, third guy in the order, fourth guy in the order for Hanwha in Jin Jung and Tae Kwon Kim. And it's number one, because I think Despaigne is trending down. And I think Hanwha can get some hits off of him. And they're both $7 on FanDuel. So I've got a 3-4 hitter against a pitcher that I don't think is real strong. And I'm only spending $7 each on those two guys. So I love it. It makes my build work. And I think that I do think they can get to Despaigne.
Interesting. If I was going to play one Hanwha bat, it would be Yoon-Won Jung. Lefty, yeah. He's been in the 2-hole. So that would be my suggestion. He's also been a very good price on FanDuel. And yeah. if I'm going to build a lineup without Despaigne, I will get him in there.
I like him too. I toyed with 3 Hanwha guys, but you got to have a monster set, I think, beyond 2 with Hanwha.
Yeah, really. Exactly.
So anyway, I think that's a nice little edge for my side on my build. I mean, I think Despaigne is going to be owned pretty well, although there's a ton of great pitchers on here. So, but I don't know how many people will stack a couple of guys against him. That should be somewhat unique. So we'll see how that rolls. So a couple different ways to look at that game for sure, and certainly both can work. There's no doubt about it. All right, game 3, we got LG Twins 26-20 at the SK Wyverns 14-32, and the updated mybookie.ag odds have LG as a 192 road favorite, and this game is tied for the highest total on the board at 10.5. So with that big 10.5 number, and you've got a couple of pitchers here in Lim and Kim, or Kim and Lim, either way you want to look at it. Is this a direction of focus for Mr. Hanson tonight?
It is. It's a similar profile here. It's a theme, I guess. I like the pitcher for the road team and the batters. You had the first game. I had the second game. In this third one, I don't like them quite as much as KT, but I do really like Lim here, as I kind of played with the numbers and mixed them up and sorted them out. He's had 2 good starts against SK this year. And the final number that I really liked is his strikeout rate. 42 strikeouts in only 40 1/3. He's 8,200 on DraftKings. He's facing SK, one of the worst teams in the league. So I like the idea of playing him with those the strikeout upside and getting lower ownership compared to some of these other studs that are right in the same price range for the pitchers on DraftKings. So I'm going to have a lot of Lim, and I'll have some of the LG bats. Kim for SK, it's just a small sample size. He has a bad ERA, but he's only had 1 start, and that was a 4-inning outing where he only gave up 1 earned run, 4 hits, 56 pitches. So he's been more in the bullpen, and he got hit around there, but he was fine in his last start. So I'm not going to jump all over him, but I like a couple of these lefties for LG. C. Lee is back in the groove at 3,500. He went 3 for 3 yesterday. Ramos is a little bit slumping, so I won't get as much exposure. A lot slumping. So, a little bit of exposure to him. Same with H. Kim. And then I want to mention Ho Yoon Kim. This is where we get the edge, where we're really tracking these lineups every day and watching them. This is a lefty with a nice swing. He's 2,600. Yesterday he was in the lineup. He went 2 for 3. So there's a guy to pivot to as a value play in the outfield, lower ownership, in a nice matchup.
All right, man. You know what? The good thing is we can agree to disagree on games and have different builds and still find ways to win.
Yep.
Specifically, if you're playing more on DraftKings or I'm playing more on FanDuel, there's completely different builds. But I have two edges on tonight's card that I think are going to make a difference for me. And I think that's going to make me very contrarian and have a chance to take some stuff down. And I'm stacking against Lim. I do not like him at all. I saw him pitch a little bit. I don't think he's got good stuff. I know he only gave up 1 earned run against Hanwha last time out, and he can strike some guys out. But my problem with him is, he's given up a decent amount of long balls, 4 long balls in the last 3 games. Also, 12, 13, 14 runs in the last 4 games. ERA and WHIP is not strong. He does not have a historically good record in the league. And I feel like this, SK, as bad as they are, the price is right. And I'm saying it on record, I'm going with 3 SK bats in my DraftKings lineup. And again, it's the build that makes it work. I think that, they're cheaper than they should be. Now on FanDuel, I think Jay Cha and Jamie Romack are both solid sticks. I think they get some hits. I think they can be put on both lineups. And I also like on DraftKings, I really like their leadoff hitter, K. Kim. Since he got called up from the minors, he's done a really solid job.
Yep.
Around 8 points per game. And, Jamie Romack has quietly been pretty decent. He's getting closer to 10 fantasy points per game. He's just on such a bad team. He hasn't done as well. But, I've used Jay Cha from SK all year. People fade him because he's 5,100 on DraftKings because he plays for SK. But I'm telling you, he gets a lot of extra base hits. He can take the ball deep. So, this is my big differentiator game for me. I don't like either pitcher in this matchup, but I'm going to use some SK bats to try to get me that contrarian look with one fade that I have later. I think it's going to be, if my guys do play up to ability, I think I'm going to be in a solo position, with my final build.
Well, it's a creative angle. It certainly could work, and I'm going to give you one stat that I think you'll like. It's the one weakness here in this plan that I have to play him, and it's that righties hit 320 against him.
Right.
It's
right.
Backwards. Lefties only hit 194. So
yeah.
those big bats in the middle of the lineup that you mentioned, Jay Cha, Jong Cha, and Romack.
Yeah.
If they take advantage of that, then he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and that was my final point. So we are on the same page. I think that'll be the key factors when people do play those guys. It's usually against a left-handed pitcher. That's right. Was going to be my final point. So I think they'll even be less owned. But the reality of it is exactly what you said. They hit right-handed pitching better. Both of them do. So I love the contrarian aspect of it and the potential there. Maybe some listeners are out there saying, Coach has gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because I've got 5 Hanwha and SK guys in my lineup today. But, they're pros. They're out there. They've combined for 26 wins this year, which is really, really sad. But that doesn't mean that some guys in the top of the order can't hit a little bit. So anyway, that was one of my biggest piece of news. I figured it would make you fall off your chair a little bit there, but that's where we go. So let's dive into Game 4. Obviously, the feature game. You got the 2 best teams, 2 really good pitchers, great matchup. It's the NC Dinos 31-14 at the Doosan Bears, who are now 28-18. My bookie sees that game as Doosan minus 119. Dinos minus 111. So it's a toss-up, and it's 9.5, right in the middle. So you don't know, is it going to be high scoring. They've had 10.5 the last 2 nights that they've played. So this is a little bit more respect for these 2 pitchers. So I'll just give you my one piece of information from this game that matters, because it's the only spot that I'm going, and I'll tell you why that is. I think the guy that is most likely to let owners down tonight as a highly owned pitcher is Drew Rosinski. I'm not on Drew tonight. I think that, I understand he's a good pitcher. He's 5-1 with a 2.68, but he's facing a tough team here, and he hasn't been shutting guys down like he did before. Last 3 games, 7 hits, 3 earned, 4 hits, 3 earned, 3 hits, 3 earned, and he's striking out some guys, but he's also starting to have control difficulty. 6 walks in the last 3 games, and this Dinos team is a team that. If you're not on your game, they can definitely get you. I'm sorry, Doosan. So did I say the wrong team here? Let me make sure I have that right. I'm switching back. Yeah. So for me, I think Doosan will make you pay if you're not, on target there. I respect Flexen. I like him. I think that he is primed at a 3-1 with a 3.26 to have a better game against the Dinos. Let me tell you this: Dinos are 31-14. I get it, but I'm really not terrified of their lineup. They're winning with a lot of pitching and some good bullpen work, good defense. They're finding ways to win, but I just don't. Their lineup doesn't overwhelm me. Like, I'm more afraid of sometimes the Kiwoom bats, or when Lotte's hot. And that's the point I wanted to make here. I just, Minwoo Park's okay, H. Kwan. Then you've got Na, who's terrific, maybe the best player in the league. But Yang has been very inconsistent. And then I want to mention these guys because they just don't knock my socks off. Kang, yes, but no Park, Altier, and S. Kim. So I know that it's a deep lineup with Altier at the bottom that helps, but it just doesn't strike the fear of God in me like some of these lineups do. I think Flexen's control is going to help him. I think Doosan wants to win this game and not fall 4 full games behind the Dinos. And I think Rosinski is slightly trending downward enough that I think he'll be highly owned, but I lean towards Flexen.
I do as well. And he owned them when they
Correct.
faced off earlier.
Exactly.
8 innings, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts.
10 Ks against the Dinos, exactly.
Yang hit a solo home run against him. Nobody else did anything other than Kong hitting 1 hit.
Yep.
So they all really struggled. I certainly prefer Flexen tonight. If I'm going to play one Dinos bat, it's actually going to be H. Kwan, just because he'll be in the 2-hole at only 2,600 on DraftKings with Myung-Gi Lee out with injury. So that's the one-off I might look at a little bit. But I am much more interested in some Doosan bats, one-offs here and there. Lefties are hitting 266 against Rosinski, 3 home runs. J.E.O. is one of the guys who went deep against him this year when they faced off earlier. And then the prices on Doosan are all cheap today on DraftKings.
Yeah.
They took a significant bump down because of this matchup. Fernandez is only 5,500.
Yes.
That's insanely low for him. Jae-Hwan Kim only 4,900. So really
I even
nice.
like Jae-Ho Kim, the shortstop. I think he's a value play at 2,600.
He is, and he's the other guy who hit a home run against Rosinski in the first matchup. So I like 1 or 2 bats here from Doosan. The one other thing I'll say on the Dinos, they gave this stat on ESPN recently. 1 through 8 in their lineup, they all are above average on base percentage compared to the league. So it's just a very steady lineup that if you're not on your game, anybody can nip you. So
I think they're steady, just not explosive. That's just the sense I get for a team with that kind of record. You'd think they would just be, mowing people down offensively, but no, I get it. I think they have had a lot of games against the SKs and Hanwhas and those teams too throughout to build up that record. The guys that I'm stacking today.
Right.
So, I think their record may be a little bit better than the team actually is. I think it's very tight between them and Doosan. And there's a couple other teams I think will make a run as well. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. That is, and I don't think that's going to be, I think that'll be somewhat contrarian. I think Rosinski will be higher owned than Flexen. And, just another reason to, be different there. And he's $900 cheaper as well, which doesn't hurt. So on DraftKings.
That's right.
All right. We have game 5, man. Samsung lines 24 and 23. The Lotte Giants 21 and 23. My bookie AG has Lotte minus 156. And this is the other big number, 10.5 over under game. So what do you have here, sir?
I think minus 156 is a little bit high for Lotte. I like Samsung a little bit better here because of the matchup for their left-handed bats. Si Wong Park, the pitcher for Lotte, he struggles against lefties. They hit .338 against him.
Okay.
And we may have lefties hitting 2, 3, and 4 for Samsung. Everybody knows all about Jawook Koo batting third, Hak Ju Lee batting fourth. He's been really trending in the right direction. Koo had a game the other day with 4 hits. One other guy I want to mention, though, the 2-hitter, Hai Min Park, 2,800 in the outfield on DraftKings. Kind of under the radar, but this year he's hitting 280, 4 home runs, 14 RBI. So I like the idea of getting a couple of those Samsung lefties in the lineup, and I'm going to mostly stay away from the matchup on the other side. Daewoo Kim is just sort of a middle-of-the-road guy, doesn't strike many people out, but he also has this ceiling, so to speak, where he only gives up 3 earned runs or less or fewer. So he hasn't been a guy that you can really stack against. So I'm not that excited about the Lotte bats tonight. So for me, it's really just a couple of the Samsung bats, and that's it.
Well, if I could replay what you just said, I would, because that's exactly how I feel. I think Samsung's slowly now over 500, 24 and 23. They're starting to bunch some hits together. They're not a bad squad at all. And, I like the Samsung pitcher a little bit, but not enough to roster him, but enough to avoid bats against him. So I'm right on the same page. And, I like a one-off here of either Park, Koo, or Lee, the 3 lefties at the middle of that Samsung lineup. I'm exactly on base with you, but that's going to be my least owned game, I think, because it's a little bit more unpredictable, in my opinion, than the outcome. So we differ early and we agree late. That might be a great combination. And again, with posting, a player pool on DraftKings that pretty much encompasses yours and my plays, it gives enough options for our members to make a few pivots to which guy they like. Whoever won the argument during the podcast between you and I, they get to choose.
Right.
And and then the FanDuel lineup as well is, I certainly take Andrew and Shane's information to heart when I build those as well. So that is it, my man. I think we've got it. I think I want to thank our 2 sponsors, MyBookie and TVG. Also want to mention mambaon3.org, MAMBAONTHREE.org. That is our choice for all of us. So thank you very much for joining us. Great show today, Mr. Hanson. And we are off tomorrow. We'll be back Monday when we look to crush it again in DFS.